When comparing variation in two different populations, or spread, the standard deviation should be compared only if they use the same scale, the same units, and they have approximately the same mean. If these values are very different, then we want to do the coefficient of variation. The coefficient of variation sometimes will be abbreviated as CV. For a set of non-negative sample or population data expressed as a percent describes the standard deviation relative to the mean. And so here's the formulas: standard deviation divided by mean times it by 100. So when I'm talking about a sample or I'm talking about a population, we do have different variables that we use for that. For the mean for a sample, we use x bar, and for standard deviation, we use s. So like she says up here, just divide the standard deviation by the mean. That will give me a decimal. I times it by 100 to get it into a percent. For the population, my mean is mu, my standard deviation is sigma, but I divide the standard deviation divided by mu, the mean, and again times it by 100% to turn it into a percent. Let's do an example of this. A company has two sections, Section A with 40 and Section B with 60 employees respectively. Their average weekly wages are $450 and $350. The standard deviation are 7 and 9. Which section has a larger variability in wages? So let's do it for Section A. Section A has 40 employees, but I don't need that in my equation. The wages are, the average is 450, the standard deviation is 7. So let's do CV for A would be my standard deviation divided by 450 times 100%, which gives me 1.56%. My coefficient of variation for B, my standard deviation divided by 350, my mean, times it by 100% gives me 2.57. I can see that my CV for A is much smaller, so this is going to have less variability. Whereas my CV for B is much higher, this has more variability, or I can think of it as more spread because it's more spread out.